Good afternoon, everyone. I'm PCT Internet Editor Brad Harbison, and thanks for joining us for today's webinar, Innovations in Soft-Bait Rodenticide, being presented by Liphatech. And during the next hour, our speakers will review soft-bait technology, how Liphatech's newest products can provide a boost to a pest management professional's IPM program. And our speakers today are John Murphy and Ted Bruesch from Liphatech. And John is the Liphatech's Northeast District Sales Manager. He covering everything from Virginia to Maine. And he also represents Liphatech in the eastern part of Canada. And John has been in the pest control industry in a variety of capacities throughout his entire career. And John lives in New Jersey, and he'll be presenting from the East Coast. Our other speaker is Ted Bruesch, who is Liphatech's Technical Support Manager. And Ted has 40 years in the industry, and he's pretty much seen everything, especially when it comes to rodent control. Ted is based in the Milwaukee area, but frequently travels throughout North America to work on tough rodent problems with customers. He also is a speaker at a number of industry events. And Ted today is presenting from the Liphatech headquarters in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A couple notes to pass along before we get started here. We encourage everyone to ask questions throughout the webinar, and you can do so by instant messaging them, by typing them into the question box in the right-hand side of your screen. We're going to hold all questions till the end of the webinar so that our speakers have enough time to get through their presentations. And then at the end, we'll do kind of a rapid-fire Q&A session with our speakers. So again, we do encourage everyone to participate in that. Also, throughout the webinar, there's going to be 2 poll questions, and the way that's going to work is it's going to be done by cell phone. You'll see the questions appear throughout the webinar, and you will text your message back, text your response, to the poll question, text it back. And that'll help our speakers get a little better feel for the audience. So we encourage everyone to have their cell phone ready and to participate in the 2 poll questions. And at this time, I'll turn things over to John Murphy. John?
Well, thank you, Brad. Thanks for that introduction. And good afternoon, everybody. And welcome to this webinar. I think this is a pretty cool event. And you're basically getting involved again with the Liphatech Eradicate promotion, and this is 2014's Farewell to Rodents Tour, and we're going to touch on innovations in soft-bait rodenticides today. So once again, to everybody, thanks for logging in. Thanks for taking the time to take part in this. And we've got just about an hour. We've got a bunch of information that I'm going to share with you, so hopefully it'll be as painless as possible, and we can also have some fun getting through it. So for today's topics, pretty much the basic agenda is I'm going to touch on what is Eradicate. You've seen that in our ads. Right now on the logo, you've got the Eradicate Tour. So I'm going to touch on that, explain where that concept has come from and how much we've been using it and having fun with it. I'm going to touch on Liphatech's innovative new products featuring the SoftSecure Technology. In short, we're calling that the SST. Why use soft-bait? FirstStrike and Resolv have had huge successes throughout our industry, but there might be some of you who are still sitting on the fence saying, why should I try it? Why should I use it? And hopefully this afternoon I can touch on that and answer some of your questions. Also, we can't have a nice event without getting some maybe free product or winning a prize. So we're going to touch on how you can earn $50 and get some free product. We'll have time for questions and answers. And then also I'll be able to give you more additional information. Once again, with Liphatech, we've got a wealth of stuff, information out there, and we'll just give you a heads up on how you can access the website, access our YouTube channel or our YouTube page, however you want to call it, where you can get some videos and stuff, and also reach out to our other personnel at Liphatech. We've got our reps throughout the country, so once again, you could touch on the Liphatech website, look at that map, and get in touch with Sean, Ray White, Larry King, Crystal Engel, all of us at Liphatech, and let us help you answer your questions for rodent control. So first off, what is Eradicate? We've had this concept, and you're looking at it in the logo and stuff, and we've had fun with it, but put it this way, you're sitting in a room and you want to communicate. You want to let everybody in the industry know about the successes of FirstStrike and Resolv. So what kind of concept, how would we like to deliver that? So Eradicate is basically taking a rock and roll band's tour theme, and we started that concept, and then we took out and left and went to different cities and to communicate that. So in 2013, we identified, and we went to 5 of the worst rodent-infested cities with a message. We brought the message that if you use our soft baits, you will see dramatic results that will convince you that soft bait is the bait you need. We went to Atlanta, Long Beach, California, Manhattan, Baltimore, and Chicago. To give you a glimpse of some of the things we did, here are just some photos. And once again, there is a video, and you can find that at the Liphatech YouTube page, and it's an awesome video showing the different events, and it just breaks it down, and you get different captions of it, how much fun we had. But think about it. If you were going to launch a product, a rodenticide, and you're going to use a rock and roll theme or a concert tour, what better place to have it than at the Hard Rock Cafe right in the heart of Times Square in New York City? And that's where we held our New York event. And not only was it a great venue, but we just had a great time. And the folks that attended it, they had a great time. Dr. Bobby Corrigan was one of the presenters throughout the tour. Ted Bruesch also presented, but we also had great giveaways, great prizes. All the reps were there for each region. And once again, we just spread the word about soft bait technology from Liphatech. Like any concert, we had good old concert T-shirts to give out. So we took that theme and we went through the 5 cities. But back in 2013, we also did the final performance in Phoenix, Arizona at Pest World. And at the booth, we had presentations, we had more prizes, but we also spread the word, and we did a wealth of presentations and just kept the ball rolling with that. So now this year comes in 2014, and we've got some new innovations. So what better way to continue the theme about new innovations in soft bait, but to continue the Eradicate tour? So at Pest World this year, we had our encore performance, and we set up the booth, and we also set this up almost as a mini stage, a mini concert hall. So we did presentations. We kept the rock and roll theme, but if you look at this picture and you look above that gentleman's head there, those gentlemen there, that is a huge replica of SoftSecure Technology from Liphatech. And in short, we call it the SST, and that's one of the things we're going to touch on today. But the booth was set up with the rat, with his guitar, with all the gals showing up, and we just had a grand old time with meeting people, spreading the word, having fun doing it with that rock and roll theme, but also giving out prizes. And our grand prize was a trip to New York City Rodent Academy that is taught by Dr. Bobby Corrigan, and Bobby was at the booth the last day to pull the names out of the bucket and get the prizes. So grand prize for that was the New York City Rodent Academy, instructed by Bobby Corrigan. We had first prize, place prize also was a $500 gift certificate, and second prize was 2 micro tablets. The grand prize winner to the Rodent Academy was Doug Fleischer, and he had a grand old time coming up to New York City and spending some time with everybody and just sort of having a good time and learning about rats and mice in the great metropolis of Manhattan. With today, we're going to, of course, give away some stuff. So it's not a trip to New York, but we do have some great prizes for you. And it's just in time for the holidays. At the end of this presentation, we'll pick 5 people to win a $50 gift card. You must be present to win and must have registered. So overall, you've got that $50 gift card. 5 winners will be chosen today. You must be on the webinar the entire time to win, must have registered for the webinar, and of course, Liphatech employees and their partners are not eligible for these cool prizes. You'll receive a card in about 1 to 2 weeks, and you must be a PCO or a distributor in the U.S. or Canada. So, like we said, we're going to try some interactive stuff here. And if you've got your cell phone handy, what we're going to do here is poll you with a question. And that question is, how often do you use Liphatech soft baits, FirstStrike and Resolv? You've got questions on the left, all the time, frequently, occasionally, have used at least once, have not tried yet. So what we're going to do here is you can respond to this interactive real-time poll using your cell phone messaging capabilities. To answer using your cell phone, you're going to choose the answer that best answers the question for you. You're going to look at the code to the upper right. Code number is 2233. And then you'll look at that. People get it already. We've got 2 people answering. So you're going to type that code in the body of the text with the 5-digit number at the top of the page. So basically, text to 22333 and put in your answer. You can also answer on the computer, and with that, you're going to go to the website above and then follow the prompts that way. What we're also going to do is stick with that rock and roll theme, and while we're polling some questions, we've got Milwaukee's very own, the living statue. Yes, that is Milwaukee's living statues, and that drummer is Liphatech's very own Chris Morales, and not only is he our biologist, the drummer for the living statues, but he is one of the lead inventors for the SST, the SoftSecure Technology. So why not? We're trying to talk to you about our products. Why not listen to music, and then you go to his website and download some tunes. But thank you for folks who are responding. This interactive stuff is working pretty well, and as you can see, we've got a host of different answers here. And if it's all the time, I thank you for that. If it's frequently, we thank you for that. If you've used it once, we thank you. And if you haven't tried it yet, well, hopefully after today, I can answer those questions. You might go out and reach out for a bucket of FirstStrike or Resolv and give it a whirl. So with that, we'll just continue on and see where we bump into. What slide is next? And we've got new innovative products by Liphatech. So once again, I want to thank you for attempting to answer those questions and stuff, and we'll get started with our presentation. So Liphatech, who is Liphatech? We're not somebody new. If you remember bromadiolone, it's a single-feed anticoagulant. Bromadiolone has been used a number of years throughout the pest management industry. That active ingredient, that single-feed anticoagulant, is patented by Liphatech. Difethulone, another single-feed anticoagulant, invented, patented by Liphatech. You'll find difethulone as the active ingredient in FirstStrike. You'll find it as the active ingredient in Liphatech's Generation and BlueMax. SoftBait, pioneered by Liphatech. The SoftBait technology that you get out of FirstStrike and Resolv has been pioneered, created by Liphatech. And we're not only stopping with what you've got. We will keep innovating and keep creating new versions of this SoftBait technology to keep it on that cutting edge. Also for today, we're introducing the SoftSecure Technology. We originally launched this back at Pest World, so it's been out a couple of weeks now, and it's out in the field, and we're getting great response. But if you haven't seen it yet, hopefully through today's program, you're going to get an idea of what this SST, the SoftSecure Technology, is all about. So from Liphatech, the SoftBait innovators, we've given you bromadiolone, difethulone, SoftBait technology, and then, of course, the SST, SoftSecure Technology. Success without a doubt. We've given you FirstStrike, we've given you Resolv, and we've had success with that, and I'm sure a lot of you have had success with that. We've given you the best rodenticides on the planet right now, but we just didn't stop with that. We didn't want to just keep you with your 10-gram or your 12-gram placements. What else could we do for you? We've listened to comments. We've listened to suggestions. So that's where the SST comes along now. So with the SoftSecure Technology, we're actually taking FirstStrike, taking Resolv, and you can go paperless. And that's a cool thing. If paper shreds have ever been an issue using the SoftBait with the paper, well, now you could just move away from that and use the SST, the SoftSecure Technology, to move ahead and go into a paperless world with your SoftBaits. We've got new products, and that's what this is about, to introduce to you 3 new SKUs that have come out of Liphatech. Before we go through why the SST is a game changer, I just want to mention what we've done with FirstStrike and what we've done with Resolv. Originally, FirstStrike has always been available to you in a 10-gram placement. That sachet has been 10 grams in size. Resolv has always been in a 12-gram placement, a 12-gram sachet. Well, now it's available as a 40-gram placement. One placement is 40 grams in size. That's huge. That's a lot of FirstStrike that you're going to put out into a bait station. It's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. The palatability is there, the attractiveness, the results that you're going to get from whether it's difethulone or bromadiolone is there. but a 40-gram placement is awesome because you're going to give product out there to feed the rodent. What also is going to happen, as you see on the screen, you've got the red lids. Well, FirstStrike in a 40-gram placement size with the red lid is also going to have 15 of the SSTs inside the pail. That's the SoftSecure technology. Basically, give up your horizontal or vertical secure rods, and you're going to go with the SST technology. The Resolv, that red lid, will have 40-gram placements in that, and you'll also get 15 of the SSTs enclosed. Also, you can buy the SSTs separately, 12 in a box, and you can try it out in that way. So why the larger size? What's so good about it? Well, 40-gram size is easier to handle. Think about it. Look at the picture. You've got that larger placement of bait. It is perfect for the SST. It's perfect for the SoftSecure technology, the grill that you're going to put into the bait station. When you put that grill into the bait station and you close the lid is actually going to help secure the grill system in place, and your bait, therefore, is secured in your tamper-resistant bait station. New larger size, but it's the same great soft bait performance. We did not change the recipes to give you a larger chunk of bait. It's the same great taste. Whether that rat looks at FirstStrike and says, wow, that's lobster, and that rodent or that mouse says, wow, Resolv tastes like steak or pizza. It's the same great taste. The palatability will always be there. And also understand, between the two products, between Resolv and FirstStrike, to the rodent, there's an entirely different taste profile. The two products taste differently, which is key. It is important. So if you're on the fence saying, why should I use one or the other, you're going to choose. You're going to make that decision. But understand both products taste different, which is important. So you're going to service your stations faster with the SST, without a doubt. With the SoftSecure technology, no paper is no mess. It's no fuss. Without dealing with the horizontal and the vertical secure rods, you've got no hassles there. You're just going to put in your bait, close your lid, and you're good to go. So what I'm going to do is just go over about 3 steps here. Number 1, you've opened your bucket. You've got your placement, say a FirstStrike, 40-gram size. It's easily you can open the soft bait pouch and discard the paper. Some folks have had some issues with paper shredding, which the way the rodent feeds, they shred everything. So no matter what you put in, you would get some type of shredding. But now with the larger placement, if you would like, you can remove the paper, put the bait right on the SST, close the lid, and go on. Another thing that this SST will do, it will elevate your rodenticides. The bait will be at a higher level in the station, which will keep it dry. It will prevent moisture sometimes from ruining bait. Step 3, the rodents are going to consume the bait right through the bars. And that video here, I hope you can see it. It's exactly what's going to happen. You'll put the bait up on top. The rodents will come through the grill system and just feed on the bait continually. And that's what we want. So the SoftSecure technology, the SST, it is made of stainless steel, patent pending. Once again, it is something that we feel is going to serve a great purpose, and it's going to work in most of everybody's professional bait stations out there. Of course, you're going to be able to use that perfectly in our Aegis bait stations. And we'd love it if everybody used all Aegis bait stations and Liphatech rodenticides. That's awesome. But nonetheless, the SST will fit in many other professional bait stations as well. So you can open them up, get rid of your horizontal or vertical secure rods, and put the SST in. There might be some stations that the SST just may not secure the bait as well as we would like it, so you'll have to evaluate those in certain situations and see how you want to move forward on that. But also understand that with the SST, primary focus was to use that with soft bait. If you wanted to put the SST into the station, you could put your soft bait right on top of it. But if you didn't want to use soft bait, or you went from one to another type of form, you can still put a mini block right on top of that grill, close the lid, the mini block is secured, the rodent will still feed through the grill system and grab the mini blocks. You can even put a place pack on that if you wanted to. So your SST will work in a couple of different situations for you. Like anything, we've got some new label language, which is good label language. Sometimes labels changes and we don't like it, but that language here is changed for the good. And when you read the label on the soft bait on FirstStrike and Resolv, underneath the applications, it's going to say the bait may be removed from the pouch and placed in a feeding device that secures the unwrapped bait in a station. Discard empty wrapper in the trash. So it's on the label. If you would like to remove the paper, you can, and then that paper you can just discard in the trash. So you can go paperless if you would like. So we've got these new products. Let's recap for a second on what's going on here. They're available now. You can call your distributor. Many distributors already have the product in stock. If they've already run out of it, let us know. We'll come back and restock the shelves if we have to. But so as far as the red lid goes with FirstStrike, you've got a 16-pound pail with 40-gram placements of FirstStrike, and you've got 15 SSTs in that pail. You're getting 182 pieces of bait, 182 placements in that pail. As far as Resolv goes, it's also a red lid pail. 16-pound pail, 40 grams of bait, 40-gram placements of the bait, with 15 SSTs inside, and you're getting 182 placements in that pail. You can also get 12 SSTs in a box if you'd like to buy more and try them out that way. We've got a special where you can get some free ones too, and we'll touch on that later as we get through the slides. So there's opportunities here for you to use the product, or at least try it if you haven't yet. When you get that pail, you're going to have the 15 SSTs, just like this picture shows you. There's going to be the 15 SSTs will be stacked right on top of the product. So as you open that lid, you've got the SSTs in there with the bait, and this is going to be the same thing with Resolv. And then if you bought them 12 in a box, that's how they're going to come packaged in the box. So it's a neat little presentation for you to get you out there and see how this stuff works for you. The existing product line will stay the same. FirstStrike will still be available in a 10-gram placement as well. 16-pound pail of bait. Now, understand this number. If you buy a 16-pound pail of FirstStrike in the 10-gram size, you're getting 727 placements in that pail. That's a lot of product. And if you want to sit there and say, well, yeah, the stuff is awesome, it kills, it's palatable, but now when you want to figure out your cost per placement, that's 727 placements in that pail. You're going to find a savings in that product. FirstStrike in the 10-gram, 8-pound pail, 2 per case is still available. You're going to get 363 pouches in those pails. Resolv as a 12-gram size, that's still available. The 16-pound pail, you're going to get 604 pouches. Once again, 604 placements at 12 grams. Do your cost per placement. You'll be amazed at how this stuff works out for you. So now, why do we use this stuff? Looks like it's good. Looks like it comes in a savings for us. What do we need it for? Where should we go? What's happening here? Well, think about it. Baiting has and will continue to evolve, just like anything. We want stuff to evolve. We want stuff to improve, to change. Change is good most of the time. So newer technologies have taken over. We had liquid baits and tracking powders and pellets. They're still around, but years ago they were used a lot more often. Remember bulk meal? It was like every day people use that. They still have a niche today in today's industry, but over time those products they've reduced in how much we use them. Usually two things have a huge factor in rodenticide technology. Replacement. What do we use to replace it? And that's improved safety and improved palatability. Blocks have always taken the lead lately, but now we see that soft bait is beginning to take the lead over all that stuff. Remember when we had the old molded bait blocks? Well, that went to the extruded blocks. We had packs. Well, originally they were called toss packs. So things change. Even just the language of the tool changes. But now with soft bait technology, it's really leading the way over block bait. So now I'm going to turn it over to Ted Bruesch, our technical support manager. And Ted has conducted several tests between FirstStrike and Resolv against the leading block bait. Ted has been doing this for over 40 years, so he knows what he's talking about. And Ted, it's great to have you. So come on in and join the program.
It's great to be here, John. And good afternoon, everybody. As John said, I've been chasing these critters around this great country of ours for a long time now. And now with Liphatech, one of my primary responsibilities is performing field research on our new product. And John, if you want to advance the slide one. In the process of doing that, I work in the same places that you as technicians do, and that I did when I was a technician 40 years ago. These are the nasty places, places with basically unlimited competing food. When we start working on a field study project, we don't clean things up. We just go in and make the product stand on its own in those sets of circumstances. So, and usually these places are pretty well heavily infested. We also do these comparisons against all three of the commensal rodent species, Norway rat, roof rat, and house mouse. And we do quite a bit of work comparing these products to all of the 5 leading wax block products. Over the course of the last, I guess we started this in '06 with FirstStrike. We've done dozens of soft bait versus wax block comparisons. And John, if you want to crank it one more slide. We start seeing results like this, and the first time I saw this stuff work, I couldn't hardly believe what I was seeing. It was just, it was at a site where they had tried everything else, and nothing was working. And overnight, they started tackling the soft bait. When it gets right down to it, rodents really don't like to eat wax. A few of them will. If you look at the bar chart in front of you, and John, you can kind of skim through the next few slowly. You'll notice one thing, that when you're looking at the soft bait bar, comparing it to the wax block bar, there just is no comparison. But even though there are still a few critters that want to, for some reason or other, eat wax. It's kind of funny as I do these studies. The sites always lose their usefulness to me as research sites as the rodent problems are eliminated. Then, I guess which one are we at here? We're at Resolv versus Norway rat. As you can see, I mean, when I look at all of these, and these are typical of what we've seen. These aren't just the cherry-picked few. It almost gets boring looking at these kinds of results after a while. But I said almost. It's still fun to see. Okay, where are we? One more, I think, yet. There we go. Now, as long as John brought up the SST, and before I turn it back to him, I would also like to say that, and we don't have a slide for this in here, but we did test that concept against Norway rat, roof rat, house mouse, and pack rat. And we found that it was very effective on all of those critters. Pack rat is quite a problem out west, and our FirstStrike product is registered for use on pack rat control with a 24C in Arizona. It all boils down to this bottom line. In my rodent control career, these 2 soft bait products are by far the best rodenticides I've ever seen. And with that, John, it's coming back your way.
Well, thank you, Ted. Thanks for that insight, and I'm sure everybody appreciates it. And as Ted talks about the results that he's had in the testing, and you see the bar graphs, when you see that success, it comes down to one thing. The critters are eating the bait, and it's palatability. And that's what I'm going into with this slide is palatability. And if you were all in front of me in a live meeting, I would ask you to repeat that word after me because it is critical. And FirstStrike and Resolv have huge success with palatability. It's been put out in accounts with competing food source. And once it's put in the right spot where the critters are running, they find it. Not only do they find it, they keep eating it, but they keep on eating it over the competing food source. The first night I ever used FirstStrike, I put 4 pails. That's 727 placements per pail. 4 pails went out into an account, and they were devoured from 9 p.m. till 6 a.m. the next morning. Not only was it all devoured, they were continually chewing on the plastic empty pails the next morning. When it first started with FirstStrike, the first couple of weeks, applicators were sending me pictures of FirstStrike devoured in bait stations next to the blocks that they've always been using, all the other brands. So palatability is a success with FirstStrike, and it's something that you have to consider when you're trying to work on some troubled accounts. Besides palatability, there's also additional reasons to use soft bait. All right, we know that the product is palatable. It has to be palatable. But what else can we do with this product? Well, flexible dosing, depending on your situation. Use what you need. If you have an infestation, load it up. If you're in a maintenance situation, use less. With Liphatech soft baits, you have many sizes and types to choose from. You have FirstStrike at 10 grams, Resolv at 12 grams, and both of them are now available in a large, easy-to-use 40-gram size. Remember that one of the most common problems with baiting is not using enough bait. You can't kill anything if there's no bait left. P&Ps sometimes underestimate how much bait is needed. With FirstStrike and Resolv, it is so palatable, I've seen rats eat a lot of it. That's without a doubt. Even after having traditional mini blocks available for weeks, you go in with this, they start feeding on it. But understand, it says on a label to keep an uninterrupted supply of bait for X amount of days. There's a reason that's there. Once they start feeding, do not stop. We want them to continually feed. Do not underbait. Do not underestimate your infestation. The flexible dosing, like I said, understand here that you've got a 40-gram placement or you've got the original 10-gram size. That 40-gram is 4 placements of the original size FirstStrike. The new 40-gram Resolv is just about 3.5 of the original size placements. Why else should you use it, or where else can you use it? FirstStrike and Resolv, they don't freeze. And this is the perfect time of year for me in the Northeast and Canada to touch on this subject. Understand that liquids freeze. Solids do not. They get hard, they get stiff because it's cold outside. If you're checking 100 bait stations at 6 o'clock in the morning and it's 20 degrees out, I think your knees are going to get stiff, but they're not going to freeze. Mini blocks get hard. Mini blocks are hard, but they still do their job. And it's the same with soft baits, but only better because the palatability is superior to the block. If you wake up and you want to use FirstStrike or Resolv and it is cold out and you believe the product is stiff, before you put it on a secure rod, cup it in your hand. They'll become pliable again. If you're using the bait rods, hold it in your one hand and pierce the soft bait with the rod held in the other hand. But if you're going to use the SST, there's no need to even worry about that anymore. The SST will cradle the stiffer bait in the colder temperatures, and you just lay the bait out there. You don't have to worry about it. Some folks will say, hey, John, the bait crumbled. It didn't crumble. It might have cracked because it was a little stiff, and you tried to pierce it with the secure rod, and you didn't give it a chance to sort of become pliable again. But if you are that busy and you don't have time to warm them up a second, well, think about the SST, because the SST will cradle that colder piece of bait, and it'll work fine. Because think about it. Oh, you know, it's cold, so I didn't use the soft bait, so I went with the mini block. Well, you didn't use the soft bait because you said it gets hard. Well, you just got rid of the hard soft bait to give them a hard bait. Either way, The soft bait, whether it's stiff or soft, still has a higher degree of palatability. Because understand that in the soft bait, in FirstStrike and Resolv, you've got the fats. You have the oils. Those oils lay on the surface even when it gets a little stiff in cold weather. So the oil is attracting the rodent. So you're still giving them that attractive piece of bait as opposed to the dry block that's filled with wax. For those of you that are living in some warmer climates, if you're on this webinar this afternoon, you've got to see this. If you haven't tried it yet, FirstStrike and Resolv will not melt. This was done at over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. We let it run for 8 hours, but as you can see, the mini blocks only lasted less than 1 hour. Soft bait just kept getting stronger and stronger. It kept staying on the rods. In hot weather, we've seen bait in bait stations heat up to about 170 degrees. When your bait melts, that means wasted bait, but it also might mean points off an audit. So why do you want to take the chance? If your business has those type of accounts where you're concerned of auditors coming in and checking product, if you're using FirstStrike or Resolv in hot temperatures, they will not melt off the rod. They will continue to remain. That might look like a Pac-Man, but it's not. We're not going back to, what was that, the 80s with Pac-Man? It's how much bait you're getting in your leading brand bromadiolone bait. So let's cover this a second. The leading brand has over 20% wax. There is no food value in wax. For us, let alone for rodents. For people who buy that white bucket of bait, you see those wax letters? That is how much wax you're buying. You're buying a lot of stuff that doesn't have any food value. And that's the key to FirstStrike and Resolv. There is no wax in FirstStrike and Resolv. That's one thing where Liphatech leads the way in soft bait technology, because we've created soft bait with zero wax. Other people have tried to copy soft bait, but there's wax in it. And if you got wax in it, it's not true soft bait. FirstStrike and Resolv, once again, have zero wax. And in another way, that's what you're paying for. There's no wax in it. It's all food value. So your cost per placement is lower. When you have FirstStrike or Resolv, there's food. It's food with fat oils and your active ingredient. And there's some Bitrex in it, of course. But what you're buying is 100% food value. That's what the critters want to eat. There's no mini block that can say that. Cost per placement, advantage, big time advantage. Remember I asked you to remember in your head how many placements were in that 16-pound pail of FirstStrike 10 grams? Well, I said it was 727. Remember what I told you about Resolv? Keep those numbers in your head, because your cost for FirstStrike is going to come in about 14 to 20 cents per placement. Now, you're going to check with your distributors, of course, on pricing, but this is your ballpark. Your Resolv is going to come into about 12, 15 cents. And your leading wax block, you're looking at 25 to 31 cents per placement. So difethulone, half the concentration versus most others. If you haven't used difethulone yet, you have to try it. Roof rats, Norway rats, house mice. Difethulone is like a sledgehammer. Plus, it's half the amount of the active ingredient. It's invented by Liphatech. Vitamin K1 is your antidote. You'll find it in FirstStrike, of course. You'll find it in Liphatech's Generation and Blue Max as well. Which soft bait is good for you? Which one do you want to use? You're going to make that decision yourself. Understand that FirstStrike is awesome. Resolv is just as good. Two totally different taste profiles. Figure out which one you want in your accounts. You want to use both? Fine. You want to pick one? Go ahead. But you make that decision. They're both going to help you out. They're both going to work for you. With FirstStrike, you're getting unmatched palatability. Difethulone, like I said, is a sledgehammer. And then you've got a unique flavor profile. With Resolv, once again, great palatability, trusted bromadiolone active ingredient. Folks have used it for years. And then there's, once again, that unique flavor profile. Now, you've just heard all these reasons to use FirstStrike, Resolv, and the SST. So now it's up to you to take the next step and buy some. However, we'll make it easy for you. In just a few slides, I'll show you how you can get about $50 in free product and another way to earn $50 in gift cards. So pay attention and hang in there. So we've got some free stuff. So what we're going to do here is, although it's not a trip to New York, we do have some great prizes for you just in time for the holidays. At the end of this presentation, we're going to pick 5 people to win a $50 gift card. Must be present to win and be a part of the webinar. First 5 people to send an email with their full name and company name too. You got it right in front of you here. pestmanagement@liphatech.com. You will each get a $50 gift card. And that's something you guys can do right now. If you're out there with email capability, send that message. We want your email with their full name and company name. First 5 people to get it to pestmanagement@liphatech.com, you're going to get a $50 gift card. I feel like I'm doing a radio show. Maybe I should do a traffic report, a weather report. This is cool. All right. A deal you want to know about. What is the deal? What's better than using great products like FirstStrike, Resolv, and the SST? Saving money on great products like FirstStrike, Resolv, and the SST? This is how you're going to do it. You're going to purchase 2 of the SKUs. By purchasing 2, you're going to get 12 SSTs free. All right? So if you want, you buy 2 of the 40-gram red lid FirstStrike, you're going to get 12 free. You want to buy 2 of the 2x8 cases, you'll get 12 SSTs free. So once again, must be 2 SKUs. You'll get 12 SSTs free through the mail in a rebate. You must buy the product before the end of this year. Liphatech will send you a case of the SSTs in the mail. You can also go to liphatech.com/12 free SSTs for additional information. So have your own throwdown. Buy the product through this great deal and just put it up against your block bait. Test it out yourself. Find the filthiest account, the most infested account you got, put whatever other bait you want out there, and put FirstStrike and Resolv right next to them, and let's see what happens. Like I said before, some of the music today has been brought to you by the Living Statues. So www.longlivethestatues.com, Liphatech's biologist and key inventor of the SST is Mr. Chris Morales, and he's a pretty cool drummer playing with the Living Statues. All right? We try to plug everything here at Liphatech today. So I've given you a lot of information, but if you want more, we have some more as always. If there's someone you know who needs it, this will be another way you can get them more information on soft bait knowledge. So we've got some great resources here. Of course, you can go to the Liphatech website. We've got resources. We've got the SST sell sheet. It's introducing the 40-gram bait placements with the SoftSecure Technology. We've got great testimonial sheets, also technical bulletins that Ted is always putting together. We've got the frequently asked questions about soft bait, which is a nice piece of literature. Once again, go to the website, call your Liphatech rep if you need them. It's all complimentary stuff. It's our way of giving you the most information possible and answering all your questions about soft bait technology. You've got the 2 SKUs, and you got the 12 free. That coupon is also available. If you go to the website, you can also see the graphics and the pictures of the SSTs and how all that stuff is put together. The Liphatech YouTube channel. If you go there, you've got videos. You want to look at a video on the SST, how it's constructed, how to place the 40-gram placements in there, you'll find that on YouTube. You want to look at that video again of the rat feeding on the soft bait through the grills of the SST, you'll find that on the YouTube channel. You like that video of the bait not melting, where everybody else's bait melts, once again, you'll find that on the YouTube channel. You want to see a great video on our Eradicate tour live at the Hard Rock and all the other venues, you'll find that video there as well. We've got videos on our RP anchor. This is the RP bait station that will come with a 12-pound concrete block already assembled. That video is there. And then you've got a video just on the RP station itself. You can see how to open it, how to clean it, that you can put snap traps in it. It's a pretty good video, and it'll also fill you in on what's going on with that product. So here we are back at an interactive page once again. And if you'd like to answer these questions and then text your message to code number 22333, we'd be more than happy if you're still on the line here to do that. And the question is, based on this presentation today, which answer best describes your feelings towards Liphatech soft baits and SoftSecure Technology? We've got one person so far. Awesome. And with that, we're waiting for some data. We'll play a little more of the living statues if I can get this to work. We've got some data coming in, most likely. Thank you very much, folks. Same, you're going to keep using it there. Thank you very much for that, too. So pretty cool that all this technology is working. All right, and all you people, nobody says less. Thank you very much for that. All right. I'm going to pass on that music. It's not clicking on right now for me. We got more and more people responding, so that's pretty good. Okay, so we should be getting our winners. And here we go. We've got 5 people. We'll get a $50 gift card in $50 in place of in form of a gift card. I'm sorry, but we've got Wayne Coyd, president of Environ Control Incorporated. Marcos Michelet, Direct Line Sales Corporation. David Moore, Dodson Pest Control. Keith P. Olish, Assertive Pest Management. And Drew Moran, Service Manager for Eastside Exterminators. So congratulations, folks. You've won a gift card, and what better time of year than to win that? And I guess you'll have to provide your addresses back in an email form so we can get that out to you as soon as possible. So if you have questions, please send them in now, or I'm sure you've had them compiled. What we're going to do here is we hope that this information has been helpful to you. We want to bring you information about our new products, but doing it in a fun sort of way. So I want to thank you for letting us do this presentation and hope it was a little off, a little non-traditional, but I hope you enjoyed it and it was a little fun. Because then again, FirstStrike, Resolv, and SoftSecure Technology, it's really not your traditional type of rodenticides, at least yet. So I want to say thanks again for everybody for tuning in here, and I'm going to turn it back to Brad for questions and answers.
All right, thanks, John and Ted, for the great presentation. We did receive several questions throughout the webinar, and we're going to jump into those. And we'll continue to keep fielding the questions throughout the Q&A. So, again, if you do have any questions, type them into the question box in the right-hand side, and we'll do our best to get to all of them. First question we had, let's see, was, I think you had mentioned this earlier, but maybe reiterate, does SST crate work in all the rodent stations?
It'll work in mostly all the rodent stations. We did have a slide that showed a couple where it just may not secure it as best as it can be. We could always, file that to somebody, let them know exactly which ones, but typically the major ones, it'll fit in all of them, yeah.
Next question was, do soft baits lose moisture if they are removed from the paper sachet and placed on the SST?
No, they will not lose moisture. What happens is the paper absorbs some moisture, but the moisture itself is in the bait first. It's not coming from the paper, it's in the bait first. So if you remove the paper, you will not take away from that moisture from the product at all.
Next question is, would the larger baits be available without the SST or the SST separately?
Well, right now, you will get the larger bait with the SST enclosed because that's our way to just provide you with that to test it out and see what you think. And then, yes, you can get the SST separately. That is available now, too. So you don't have to just buy the bait. You can get them separately.
Okay, and a follow-up comment to that was initially we'd need a lot of the SSTs and then less as our stations all have them. We wouldn't need 15 per pail. So.
Right, and let's say, once again, we're launching a product, we're launching a concept, so we're gonna get it out there as much as possible, and maybe 4 to 6 months, if all you people have SSTs in all your stations, well, then maybe we don't have to keep providing them to you. But like anything, it's new, and we're gonna just sort of play that by ear and roll the product out to you and wait to see feedback.
Next question was, how do I make the product more palatable?
Well, you shouldn't have to make the product more palatable. With FirstStrike and Resolv, usually palatability is key. It's right there. It's sometimes the critter won't take it. There could be that one tricky account. Once again, we're dealing with live animals, rats and mice, and that one account you might need a little more effort. But if anything, get the product in the right space, get it in the right spot, put it in the runway, put it between the nest and their food source, and eventually they're going to find it.
Next question I will answer. The question was, will it be archived? Will the webinar be archived? Yes. Once the webinar is completed, we have been recording it. So once the webinar is finished, we'll edit it and we'll have it up on our website here probably within the next week or so. The question here was, when will the 40-gram placements be available to the Canada market?
Well, that is pending on registration, and registration is currently in the works. So the paperwork is up there, I believe, and if Ted knows otherwise, if he's listening, but I believe the paperwork has been submitted, and like anything, we wait for regulatory folks to approve and say yes.
Yeah, John, I can chime in on that. The paperwork has been submitted, but we have no idea how quickly they will get around to processing it.
Okay.
Next question had to do with secondary poisoning concerns. How would this affect a dog, cat, child if eaten, and then if they ate a poisoned rodent?
Okay, secondary exposure. Well, let's deal with the primary first. The concentration of active ingredient in these products is identical to the concentration of active ingredient in the wax block products, our Generation and Mackie, for example. So, the risk factor is the same there. There's no increase in risk. And the same thing holds true for the secondary exposure. When it comes right down to it, the secondary exposure from an anticoagulant rodenticide is very small for a couple of reasons. Number one, quite a bit of that material is excreted in every 24-hour period. A large percentage of it. One study found as much as 80% of the active ingredient is excreted. And the other thing you have to keep in mind is how much a particular rodent actually eats in the course of a day. A mouse only eats about 3 grams, and maybe he's going to live 4 days, 5 days after that first dose. A rat eats maybe about an ounce. Now, they will eat multiple doses, but even with that, a single rodent poses very little risk to a non-target animal. Now, if you had a lot of rodents and a dog or a cat were to be eating very many of them, then the risk factor is going to go up, and that's going to depend on the species of the animal that's doing the eating as well. There's no way to give you a hard and fast number. All I can tell you is that the risk factor is very similar to, if not equivalent to a wax block with the same active ingredient.
Question was, is it possible to unwrap a whole bucket at home to make the placement into the stations easier, or will the bait dry out before placement is possible?
You want me to take that one, John?
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
Yeah, okay. The term quite often used is moisture, and there is no water moisture in the bait. The material that gives it its soft texture is vegetable oil. So there's really not going to be any change that would be any different than something that is made with, if you, for example, were to take some shortening or some margarine and set it out on the table, and then keep track of how much, I'm just going to use the word evaporates. It would be minuscule. So if you were to unwrap a bunch of them ahead of time, you really wouldn't expect much in the way of evaporation, if I can use that word in association with oil. I don't know if that's chemically correct or not, but just think about it as a vegetable oil similar to margarine or shortening.
Okay. Let's see here. Question here was, are there issues with snails and slugs feeding on the bait like there is with the wax blocks?
Well, if you want, I'll take it, Ted. You will find less snail and slug activity with FirstStrike and Resolv. You will find, in some situations, a little more ant activity, but you will find less snail and slug activity as compared to the block baits.
Okay. Similar question was: is there anything that can be done, or anything that you guys, meaning I think probably meaning Liphatech, can do or add to stop the ants from eating the soft bait?
At this point, I don't think we could do anything to change it. Applicators have actually gone different ways to combat the ant problem as far as ant baits in the bait stations. Some folks actually pre-spray their bait stations with sort of, let's say like a wettable powder insecticide, because once that material dries, there's no odor, so you will not disrupt the palatability of the product. So if you knew you had some heavy-duty ant activity in areas, folks have pre-sprayed bait stations and then put the rodenticide in them. So that, in combination with ant baits and gels and stuff, they seem to overcome ant issues.
A couple more questions there, again, to what you mentioned. The question we had earlier about, in what stations it'll fit in, the SST crate will fit in. Is that something you wanted to mention, all the different stations it'll fit with, or can you just give us a general comment about that?
If you want, I could probably go back to those slides. Would that be helpful, you think?
Sure.
I've already got it right in front of me, John.
You got them in front?
Yeah.
All right. You want to read them out, because then I would have to go back to the slides.
Right. My assistant here is is helping me out. The ones that it works in are the Rodent Cafe, Checkpoint, Protecta LP, Easy Clean, Protecta Sidekick, Evo Express, and of course all of the Aegis full-size bait stations. It's not recommended for the Protecta Sidewinder, the large Protecta bait station, that one with the big high dome top on it, and the MPU station.
Okay, great. Well, that was it as far as questions. I'm going to turn things back over to Ted and John to see if you had any final comments you'd like to make.
Well, I would just like to thank everybody for taking part. I think those were awesome questions, and thank you for doing the interactive part of those slides. And once again, thank you for the support, and all the best, and have a happy and healthy holidays coming up to everyone. Ted, you got anything to say?
I would like to also add my wishes for a healthy and happy holiday season with friends and family.
All right. So we're pretty much done here.
Yeah, John and Ted, thanks again for putting on a great webinar this afternoon. And again, to anyone who's participated in the webinar, we will have it archived. If there's anything you missed or you want to hear it again, check back on our website within the next week or so, and we should have that up for you. So thanks again to everybody for tuning in, and have a great day.